I say, just a moment.
Who, me?
Yes, you, old man. I hope you don't mind my butting in, but I'm sure you've no idea what that dirt could do to your engine. Yes, the dirt and muck in that can and funnel, for instance. And what about that storage tank? You know, that's not a good way to store fuel. That top is wide open to collect any muck that's floating around, not to mention the rain. And all that dirt round the tap. It won't do, you know. All the efforts taken by the oil companies to ensure that the fuel is delivered clean is not a ha'porth of good if it's going to be stored in a rough old tank like this. However, there's a right way and a wrong way of doing most things in this world. Now, here is what is considered an ideal arrangement for storing fuel. Storage tanks for fuel oil must be clean and should be protected against dust and water. Notice that the tank slopes down to one end, and for a very important reason. A certain amount of dirt is bound to get in by way of the air vent, which must be opened when you're drawing off, and this forms a sludge which you don't want in your engine at any price. By sloping the tank, all this sludge and sediment and any water which will also find its way in will end up away from the drawing off end and can be drained out from the tank periodically. It's as simple as that. Of course, not all farms have the large storage tanks, but the principle is the same with even the most modest of installations. Tanks like this should be under cover if possible and should on no account be galvanized internally. So far, so good. What more can you do? Well, first of all, make sure that your funnel is clean both before and after use. In this war against dirt, the next line of defense is the fuel tank on the tractor. Some tractors have a filter in the filler cap, but where this is not fitted, a funnel with a fine mesh gauze should be used when refueling. Never use a fluffy rag for cleaning. In spite of all your care, a certain amount of dust or sludge will be in the fuel, and the filter in the funnel will trap some of it. But the manufacturers have gone further than that and provided a very effective filter between the fuel line and the injection pump. Let us take this one off the tractor and see just what it has done. All that dirt has been prevented from reaching the pump and damaging the elements. In this particular case, the filtering element is a combination of cloth and felt, and the fuel oil passes from the outside of the fabric to the inside, through the felt pads, to a perforated tube which is connected to the fuel outlet at the bottom of the filter body. Any impurities are therefore deposited on the outer surface of the fabric or absorbed in the felt pads. In time, these filters get choked with dirt and have to be serviced. And immediately on removal of the dirty element from the filter casing, the open ends of the central support tubes must be plugged with corks to prevent dirt getting in during the cleaning operation. The procedure is very important, and if it is not followed to the maker's instructions, it will be so much time wasted. After removing the dirty cloth, the nut of the filter element must be replaced to keep the felt pads pressed together. The cloth should be thrown away, replacements are very cheap, but the felt element can be cleaned in petrol or paraffin. You will see that the cork plugs are essential to keep the dirt from being washed into the clean side of the filter. Constant research is being carried out in an effort to improve the efficiency of these filter elements. The initial care you spend in getting clean storage and using clean containers and funnels must pay a dividend. For the more care you take to keep your fuel clean, the longer your filter will last. Now, every precaution has been taken to ensure clean fuel reaches the pump, and it is this piece of mechanism that is responsible for this war being waged against the enemy, dirt. This pump will work properly as long as it gets a suitable supply of clean fuel and should be left well alone. Any overhauls and adjustments should be carried out by skilled engineers who have not only had special training in servicing fuel injection equipment, but also have available the accurate testing apparatus so necessary for this very important work. The injection pump is a sturdily built precision job, designed to supply the exact amount of fuel to the engine at the exact moment it is required. A minute quantity, about the size of a pin's head, which is atomized and injected into the cylinder at each firing stroke. Here is a nozzle under test, spraying correctly. This is where clean fuel comes in. Inside the pump, there is a separate pumping element for each cylinder of the engine. And it is on these pumping elements, beautiful pieces of precision engineering, that the efficient running of the engine depends. The plungers and barrels are manufactured to a high degree of accuracy, and efficiency can be seriously affected if these highly finished surfaces are damaged. The main cause of damage is dirt. A very small amount of grit, especially the very fine stuff, can cause sufficient wear to upset things entirely, resulting in knocking, uneven running, or even a complete breakdown with its resultant waste of time. It all sounds very terrifying, but it can be avoided. Keep your fuel clean, and your tractor will keep going day in, day out, year in, year out, giving you the service you expect from it and save time, trouble, and money. It doesn't just apply to tractors, of course, but to all vehicles running on fuel oil. Major companies have their own service staffs, but even then, it's up to the individual drivers, even though station attendants are doing their job properly, to see that every precaution is taken to ensure that fuel is kept clean. Keep it clean, and your injection pump will give you trouble-free service. Don't touch the pump. Qualified engineers take care of it and are at your service. But save yourself a lot of headaches by thinking about the simple rules which all in all boil down to keep it clean.